Hi, Lee. Nice to meet
Hi.
you. Thank you for this meeting.
Yeah, nice to meet
Um,
you.
well, what were your main influences for this movie?
So I think that the exciting thing about Fear Street is that it really, the books themselves kind of already pay homage to classic
Of
slasher
course,
movies.
beside
So
the books, of course.
yeah, but
Mhm.
within the books, I feel like there's already these
Yeah.
nods at like these
Oh,
slasher
perfect.
that I love. Yeah, so for the 90s, I was looking at the Scream series for sure.
Of course.
100%. Anyone that watches the first 10 minutes of 94 part one, they know exactly what I'm doing there. I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Faculty, those were all big influences. And then for the 70s movies, I got to look at kind of the beginning of slashers. So Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Friday the 13th, obviously Nightmare too, even though that becomes a little more 80s. So yeah, those were the big influences on the slasher genre part of the movies.
What can you tell me about the production process? Because it's difficult to develop a project in three films, and the pandemic situation. Besides that, I think it is affect the last part, no, the post production process.
Yeah.
But how do you work with that? Because you are the screenwriter and the director too.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to finish production before pandemic
Yeah.
kind of happened. It was still very challenging. It's crazy to do three movies at once and to be kind of prepping
Yeah.
three different time periods. It was a little bit kind of, oh, we're in 94, we're in 70,
Yeah.
we're in 1666,
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
and
Of
forth
course.
like that. But yeah, pandemic kind of started to happen when we were in post and kind of, I had just finished, I think, maybe doing the director's cut of the second movie.
Yeah.
When the world kind of shut down, and
Mhm.
that was really challenging and really
Yeah.
crazy
Of course.
scary. And but I felt very lucky that we were able to get through production, and I feel really lucky that we had kind of the support of the studio to continue working, and so we were able to kind of work and move forward, and ultimately finish the movies in a way that wasn't compromised at all. So yeah.
And the last one, how is your work as a director with the actors? No, how do they adapt to the ideas do you have for the film? Because it's a retro style too. How do you do that?
I mean, a lot of my conversations with the actors, this sounds crazy, but stem from keeping it and their kind of reaction in scenes as grounded and as realistic as possible. So it was always kind of starting with, okay, if there was an undead killer that is wearing a Halloween skull mask coming after you, I know that's crazy, but how would you actually react in that moment? And kind of like taking that time to think about the impossible to believe. What if it actually happened? And so that was kind of the core of all discussions with the actors.
Did you show them any movie in particular, Friday 13, for example, or
Yeah, I
Texas
gave
Chainsaw
them.
Massacre?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. I gave them all kind of like, you should watch this movie or you should watch this movie. Like all of like the 70s kids, I told them to watch The Goonies because I felt like that a lot of the influence, kind of the part in the tunnel was based on that. And so yeah, so they would watch those things, they would read things, and they would listen to the music. Like listening to the music was also
Of
really
course.
important to kind of like putting them in the time space.
Well, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Congratulations for this project.
Thank you.
And well, you're very kind. Nice to meet you.
Thanks. Nice
Bye.
to meet you. Bye.